yoga time. Okay, so I'm just doing like a little wrist work before we start, since today we're gonna do some weights too. So if you don't like to lean on your wrist, to me the best way is you put your hands flat and you lean forward, and then you put them with the back of your hand. I mean, what's this called? The front of your hand. You put it like this, and you lean back. So you really stretch out your wrists, and then put them the other way. But okay, so a lot of people feel uncomfortable doing this, so you don't have to do it that way. You can do it in the air. You need to pretend that your hands are in jelly and there's a lot of friction. So you can do it this way, but you need to really squeeze your wrists and your hands the whole time so that you really feel that pull. So right now, like, all this is burning because I'm squeezing so much. But that's the best way to really get out all the tension and all that little carpal tunnel bullshit that you get in your wrists and hands. So circles, right? But these are like, I would say figure 8, okay? So you see it this way, you see it's like a figure 8. And you just put all that tension, like if you're moving it through jelly, then you're gonna go up and down like a wave. And this is really good for the wrist. Up and down like a wave. So you go up, down, and then you can go ahead and use your hands to pull back. But like I said, my favorite, of course, is using your own body weight. So you get in the table position, like so, with your hands flat on the floor, and you're gonna go ahead and lean forward from your hips, and you go back and lean forward, put that body weight over them, and then you can go ahead and flip them on the other side and lean forward, and then lean back to really feel stretch. Some people can't put their weight down on the wrist, so that's why I gave you the option to do it free. Like, well, today I am doing some warm-up for wrists and for legs because I'm going to do weights, so definitely want to get like a good stretch. But I guess I'll talk my way through it so that if anyone watches it later, they can just like follow along. Okay. You see me? So stand up straight, hands up, bend forward from the hip, slowly, all the way down. Hands to the floor if you can't, fingertips, or you could grab your ankles too. Hands to the floor, breath in, lift halfway, hands on your shins so you're below your knee, so get a flat back. I want your back to be flat. Breathe in, breathe out, lower all the way down. Bend your knees. Plant your hands and step or hop back. We are now in a plank pose. Hold it 5 seconds. lower from the elbows slowly and control. You're gonna go ahead and roll over your toes. So now we're in this upward dog position. Go ahead and start touching your left hip and then your right hip to the ground. This really stretches your spine and your back. Push back into downward dog. I'm gonna move forward so you can see me better. I want you to go ahead and pedal your feet. Start pedaling your feet and really get a good stretch. Pedal as you start to move them. And now plant them on the floor. Push back into your downward dog. Make sure that you give yourself a little room. You should stretch your head out so that your ears are not all shoved into your shoulders or something like that. You should have plenty of space. And you're in this like V shape, but if you want to push forward, all you gotta do is push your chest towards your knees so you can get a nice deep stretch. Now bend your knees slowly and hop them together to the middle. Now we're in this little Mahasana squat position. On our tippy toes, start to raise your arms so that they're in line with your back. And hold it, breathing in and out. And open your legs and close and open. This could be like a little hard for some if you don't have your balance good, but still try it. Open, close, start to straighten your feet, bend forward at the same time. Grab on the back of your calves and use that to help yourself fold better. And if you need a little help, you bend your knees so you really start to learn how to fold. And then eventually with time, you'll straighten them. I'm still working on my forward fold, and I could get better and better. And I won't stop until I can reach all that I want to talk on the phone. Siempre me quiere llamar cuando estoy haciendo mi live. Okay, so bend your knees. Your feet should be, I guess I would say a little wider than hip width apart. Bend your knees. So now we're in a little bit of a Mahasana squat position, okay? And this is the position where if you want to practice your balance, you'll go ahead and get into this like crane pose. And you put your knees on the back of your arm. So that's how you hold this position. That's one of the ways, like that. And then another way is putting them in your armpit, I heard. So you get a little higher on your tippy toes, put my armpits like in my knees, and then I use the back of my arm for my legs to balance still. So a little higher. But either way, it's gonna work. Oh my God, it's bendiciones. It's raining, booze. Este tipo me estaba llamando porque quería sacar el bote. He wanted to take out the bowl to test. I'm like, bitch, I ain't going out like this, you crazy. Anyway, let me get back into my yoga. Starting to sweat a little bit. The reason I'm holding so many squat positions is because remember, we're gonna work out our legs. So we really don't want them to be tight, okay? So right now I just got like in this regular squat position. I would say my feet are hip width apart. And I just squatted down and I'm on my tippy toes. And all you gotta do is use your arms to open your legs wide. And you're just gonna move back and forth, opening them wide and closing them. Because this is we getting our little joints and our hip flexors and everything ready to work out our legs today. Alright. Alright, get in table pose. Ooh, it's getting hot. From table pose, you're going to go ahead, lift your right leg up. You're going to keep it in a straight line with your back. So you see how my leg is still in a straight line, and move up a little bit so you can see with my back. So when you keep it in this straight line, you're going to bend from the knee. Okay? If I leave it like this, I'm in a perfect 90-degree angle. And then I straighten it back out. And when you bend, you're going to stop it right there and straighten it back out. And what I'm working on is the strength in my knee, because I have a lot of pain sometimes in my knees when I'm going to go stretch. I don't know why, it feels like air or water or a little bubble. So I'm going to work on stretching it. And from this position, I'm going to go ahead and try to turn your leg out. Really stretch. And once you straighten it, I'm going to go ahead and bring it up to your elbow and get that good stretch. Just do it like 3 times. And you feel it really cracking everything. And go ahead and do it with the other side. Okay, so you're going to stop when your foot is straight line with your back and you bend from the knee. But I want you to stop when it's in the 90-degree angle and keep your foot flexed. So it's just like this. Straight, and you stop it right here. And straight, and you stop it right here. Okay? And now, like I said, bring the knee up to the elbow. And that's just to get a really good stretch. Okay? Stretch in your hips. Bring them both down to the table, arch your back and breathe in. Exhale and fold. Inhale and arch. Exhale and fold. I'm going to get into puppy pose really quick. So that's just me sliding forward till I'm on my chest and my chin's on the ground. I'm just using this to really stretch out my back. And you want to make sure that you always stretch out your back and hips. So I'm going to show you a really good one. And it's also from table pose. And I want you to pretend that you're going to draw a circle with your belly button. So imagine this circle, right? So I start at the top, and as I lower, I arch. And as I get to the top of the circle, I go ahead and fold. So you arch. So I'm going in a circular motion. It's like I'm drawing a circle with my belly button, like I said. And that's really going to stretch out your core. But besides that, I feel like it's a really good like spine stretcher. So like I said, pretend you're drawing a circle with your belly button, and you can really start to get into it. And then when you get more comfortable, I want you to go all the way down. And now we're doing more of a hip stretch. Okay? And now when you're ready, you can do the other side. So you start off with your little circles. Okay? As you fold is because it's the top of the circle, and the bottom is going because I'm arching. So I'm pretending that I'm drawing a circle with my belly button, and that's the best way to keep the fluid motion. And now once I get really comfortable, I'm going to go ahead and put my hips all into it, because this is the hip flexor stretch. And you can get all the way every side if you want, so you can really get a good stretch in. I'd rather be really like not wasting, but spending my time on this stretching, because in the end, it's gonna help me when I'm doing my workout later. Okay, so now I want you to go ahead and put your hands a little closer to yourself, so that when you go into your cobra, your hands are gonna be right above your pelvis. So this is really good. Honestly, it might not seem like it, but it's really good for stretching your knee, because like I told you, I have that little pain in the knee, and I really feel it when I do this. So when you keep your legs in this 90-degree flexed, we're gonna move from table. So we're gonna move from this position from table. We're gonna keep our feet flexed and we're gonna keep them at the 90 degree and we're gonna move our pelvis down. Okay? So we're moving from table, it's a fluid motion. Move your pelvis to the ground and see how your feet stay in that 90 degree angle and flexed. Okay? So that's all we're doing. Moving back and forth from that position because it's really gonna stretch the knee and all the little ligaments or whatever's in the knee. And that's what I need so I make sure that when I'm squatting today and doing everything, I'm not gonna go ahead and get hurt. Okay? Now I'm gonna go ahead and step back with one leg. So let me move up so you can see. Step back with one leg and you're gonna put the foot on the ground, okay, like this, and you just push back into it. Okay, like pedaling. You can push back into it. You really stretch. This is stretching the hamstring now and the back of the leg. And then you do it the other side. Make sure you get that nice, good stretch. Okay, so now I want to work on my little hip openers for a moment. So I'm going to go ahead and push up into that Malasana squat, which is this one that we talked about. Our feet are just a little, like they're hip width apart, and my toes are straight, and my knees are facing the outwards, diagonal. So you just kind of get used to being in this type of position. Definitely like good with my balance and everything. It might be a little easier because I do have sneakers on, but it's good to practice your balance at any level. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get in a wider stance. So go ahead and put your feet, the mat should be in between your feet, and you can go ahead and point your toes outward, and that really helps our knees too, to protect our knees or whatever we're doing. And I want you to go ahead and slowly start to squat. And when you feel that you are at your point where you can't go any lower without compromising the integrity of your back, then I want you to stay. So basically, you want to keep your back straight. If you start to lean forward, then you're going too far because we want to keep our back straight. Put your hands in front of you. And if you want a wider stretch, you're going to go ahead and put your hands on your knees and push them out. Just like I guess if you're going to go and, you know, for the ladies, it's kind of like booty dancing. And yesterday I was doing a yoga with somebody and they said that I was trying to teach them how to twerk. But I was like, no, this is a hip opener. And it's really good for your hips. And especially if you're going to work out legs and stuff. And so you don't pull your groin and you don't pull a muscle. So like I said, stay like this, your feet pointed out, and what we're going to do is we're going to straighten one of the legs and we're going to come down on the opposite side. So as you bend and lean towards one side, you're going to come over on your heel. And then you're going to go ahead without your hands and you're going to do it to the other side. Okay? Now I want you to get comfortable doing this first. And then when you start to get really comfortable, you can go ahead and move your foot from the toe to the floor to straight up. And that's going to start to really open up those hips. Oop. So you can put your toe down and up. Of course, if you feel like you need a break or something, go to the middle. And keep the back flat. And rest until you feel like you can start again. And you're going to move through it. And there's no set. I would say that the best to do it is until you really feel that warmth. Okay, and another one you can do is with your feet wider than the mat. My back is flat because my hands are on my knees or my shin, whichever is going to make my back flat. And I'm going to go ahead and pivot my hip to the right and then to the left. And that is going to be how I am really stretching, not even my hips, but right here, in your hamstrings, side to side. Now, point your feet outwards, but this time I want you to point them all the way out. So if you see, my toe is facing you because I'm not in a wide-legged stance anymore, like a pigeon toe. I'm putting my feet all the way. And this is the Buddha pose. So the Buddha pose is when your feet are wide, they're facing outward, and we're squat with our back straight. Put our hands in the prayer pose, and this is our Buddha pose. So it's really good, do little pulses, and try to practice how low you can go in your Buddha pose. If you want to widen your feet a little bit, however you feel comfortable, that's fine. And you can also use your hands in your knees to push out to really stretch out your hips. But the point is, let's try to keep our back straight, okay? Not arching like this, but straight. And our hands in the Buddha prayer pose. I want you to hold it for at least 30 seconds. I guess I've been holding it for a while now, but I think 30 seconds is ideal to really start to open. You have to imagine that your muscles are like pieces of meat, and the more that we tenderize them by doing stretches like this, the more that we beat them a little bit, then they start getting a little more tender and soft, and they can stretch and bend into incredible positions. And this is what's really needed so that when we work out with weights or any of our body weight, we're not going to get hurt because we're already going to be lubricated, warmed up, and ready to go. All right, so hold it for like 30 seconds and shimmy them together a little bit. And let's sit directly on the ground, feet in front of you. So now with your feet in front of you, I want you to flex and point, and flex and point. And we're just gonna do that for, like 20 seconds or so. Flexing and pointing. And you could do one and the other if you want, but I like doing them at the same time. And I want you to roll your shoulders back, so really sitting up straight, hands up, and you're gonna go ahead and bend over those legs. Every time that you breathe out, I want you to push yourself a little more further, a little more lower. I'm working on making sure that I can bend forward with a flat back, which I still can't really do that well at all. So that's my goal, is to try to bend, but with my back flat. So I feel like if you do stop for a few days, you kind of like start getting stiff again. So it's something really important to make sure that you're practicing over and over to really work on that flexibility standpoint. As you can see, I'm already breaking a sweat because I'm using so much body weight that it really is a challenge. So even though I'm warming up and stretching, I'm sweating because my body is in motion and moving. So anytime you want to lean forward or bend forward in a forward fold, you can always roll your shoulders back, and that's going to make you have a really straight back, so you can start perfect. And then you'll go ahead and fold over your legs. Now I want you to go ahead and fold your legs into a little butterfly position, and I want your knees to be off the ground so you can make sure and get as close as you can. So once you're as close as you can and your knees are off the ground, I want you to go ahead and grab your toes. And I want you to start to pull your feet towards you. Okay? And you should feel all in the hips, a nice little pull. And you can go ahead and rock a little bit, slightly. And I want you to go ahead and start to fold forward. Now, if you can, lower your knees to the ground. You start in this position, and you go ahead and flatten them out. And I want you to go ahead and fold forward. If you have a partner, they could sit in front of you and they could pull you slightly as you go back, and then you pull them and you go back and forth like this. And it's really good for working on stretches. And if you want to work on your middle splits, obviously you just open your legs up, and the person that is pulling you, they have their legs on the inside of your shin, and then when you turn around and they pull you, you switch. You get what I'm saying? So it's really simple. So in the butterfly position, like I said, if you can't put your knees on the ground, that's fine, but you could try. Otherwise, you can keep them kind of like a little bit like this until you get better and better. But ideally, you want to start to flatten them so you can lean forward, and you're really going to feel it here in your little hip sockets, okay? And the last pose we're going to do before we start to work out is pigeon. So pigeon pose is you go ahead and you fold your leg, okay? Now, less advanced, you see how my foot is close to my pelvis, okay? This is how I'm folding it, like really close. But if you're more advanced, then you go ahead and you leave your foot, okay, in this 90-degree angle, like this. And this is how you stretch it really good. But like I said, if you're more new to this, it's going to be hard. So you can go ahead and fold your heel closer to your little pelvis, to your little vajayjay. You fold your heel close to it, and that way you can bend a little more easier. Either way, this is called pigeon pose, okay? And it's really good hip opener. Look, go back and forth on your hips. So rub your, like your, I guess, butt, or this part of thigh, all the way to the left. Get it down, and then all the way to the right, so you're going to be on your other thigh, okay? And that way you're really going to get a good, oh my god, I'm like dripping sweat. Oh well. So you're going to go ahead and open that hip, and now what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and lean forward, okay? And you can go ahead and lay yourself down on the ground and really breathe into your stretch. Now if you want to push it further, you can go ahead and start to bend that leg is straight and reach for your heel or reach for your ankle or whatever. And this is where it kills me, because this is my pain on this knee. So it's like, what is that? I don't know, but I guess little by little I'll just keep trying to stretch. But it is painful for me in this side, really painful. So little by little with that knee. Okay, downward dog, pedal it out. And you'll see that when I do the other side, so like I said, if you're new at this, then when you're gonna go fold your leg, you're gonna wanna kind of fold it so that your heel is close to your pelvis. But if you already have some experience doing it, the ideal way is to have your leg as straight as you can. So the goal is to stretch the pelvis and the hips. It's a hip opener and it's a pelvic stretch. So you go ahead and you're gonna go back and forth. Make sure that you really work on opening it up. Everyone said, oh, why you always do these positions? Well, you have to do these positions. What do you think? If you don't do them, if you don't use it, you lose it, boo. So you better start getting into these positions, or I guarantee you're not going to be able to do a lot for long. And the older you get, the worse it gets, baby. So now when you're comfortable, go ahead and start spreading your hands out so you can lay all the way down and hold it a little longer and a little further. And like I said, if you feel really comfortable, go ahead and bend that back leg and reach back for it. And you can kind of do a little, the whole goal is to really push myself closer and closer to the ground and really stretch out that hip. Then you see this knee doesn't give me a problem, and I can bend this and no problem, but the other one feels like there's a bubble or water in it, so it gives me a little bit of a difficulty. So this was our last opening stretch, and now we're gonna go ahead and pretty much get ready to go lift some weights. We're gonna work out butt today. That's why we've been doing so many hips and so many stretches in yoga for that. So after a nice yoga warm-up, the best thing to do would be to meditate. However, since I am gonna go lift the weights, I'm gonna go do that first, and then I'll do a little yoga cool down, and then we'll meditate together. So I'll probably do a little guided meditation with you guys today. Oh, this is that squat from the front, by the way, that I'm telling you, the Mahasana squat. So you kind of get on your tippy toes, and you squat down. You want to keep your back straight, and your elbows is what's going in to your knees to push them open. And this was the one I told you that if you really practice, you can put your knees on the back of your forearms or inside your armpits, and you lean forward to do your little crane pose. Okay? Just want to show you a different angle, I guess. But anyway, we are definitely lubricated and warmed up for our that. So namaste, enjoy. I'm gonna come back on live because I'm going to be in the weights doing a little butt exercise today. So I'll probably be back live in like 5 minutes. Okay.